So I met him. I don't remember his name, but he has his own like uh pretty much like tech company, and it's called Astrum, and they have like AirPods.
Oh,
His
okay.
his name was Gary, but yeah, they're pretty cool, man. They're like they're pretty. It's a pretty heavy duty case too. There's a little black case about this big. Looks, I mean, it's just like a everyday AirPod or a headphone, whatever you want to call it. But they look like they're pretty legit. He says they're not as expensive as Apple, but the only thing that's not as good is just the when you get a phone call, like it'll direct to all the way to the headphone, and
Yeah.
sometimes with his you have to actually like switch it over, like going between speaker, phone, and like the headphone. So
Oh, yeah, yes. Yeah, some of those are kind of like that. Yeah.
so yeah, he said that's the only difference. But he said outside of that, he's like the shit was legit. So I was like, okay, I'll
They
check it
charge
out.
inside the case because some of them charge when you put them inside.
Yeah, these
Oh,
ones do.
I had a few headphones I used when I used to work over at the RV dealership. But I don't know if I lost them motherfuckers. I don't know if they fell in my pocket or what. But
That's the hard thing with me. I lose stuff, so I have to buy stuff that I attach to like my hip. And so
right.
if I don't have it attached to my hip, then it's gonna end up getting lost. That's just the way it always rolled with me.
Yeah, I
Um,
quit after I lost two of them. I was like, "Fuck this."
well, dude, it sucks because like the AirPods they break so easily, and like I forgot to renew mine because you can go in and switch them out for like $50, and within
Yeah,
like 2 years, and they'll give you like a refurbished pair, and it's it works nice, but after like always 6 months, either the volume starts to get fucked up or the microphones get fucked up, and so
yeah,
it's
the
like
reverse didn't work as good as brand new ones either, too.
no, but it's nice, but it still sucks 'cause it's like I drop these things all the fucking time. And actually getting ones that are durable. I wish
Yeah,
they had some that you could drop and shit like that, and not actually have like to worry about getting the damage to it. But um, no, yeah, I
they're
just
probably you probably pay a pretty penny for it though if you do.
oh right, no, I mean, dude, you're gonna end up paying like 300-400 bucks on top
Yeah,
of it. Yeah, like they have those ones for like $1,000. I'm like, dude, how can you spend $1,000 on headphones? Even if you have a shitload of money, like it's just like, what is that good in those things that justifies that much money? You know what I mean?
for $1,000, it better love me long time, dude. For $1,000, man, come on, you know what I mean?
Ooh, a little,
Or
little,
$1,000.
little midnight love.
So I mean, and jobs in between things or something for $1,000, man.
uh, yeah, no, I don't get it. And like those VR Pros, even those things are pretty cool looking and shit, but I just can't justify spending that much money on something. You know what I mean? Like, even
I mean, these rent, you could buy a couple of that. I mean, that's a down payment on a car or something. I mean, but
it really, yeah, no, it's crazy. Have you ever played in those VR headsets?
no, no, I don't think I have. No.
I played it one time. Like, well, we played it for like 3 hours. We went to the casino one night, me and my buddy and his girlfriend and like his brother and cousin and shit. But anyways, we were there till like maybe 3 in the morning. Then we went to his house afterwards, and we were smoking and playing on it. And we went in this like just this world where you go and play chess. And we're sitting there
Yeah.
playing chess, and this kid pops up, and he keeps messing with us. I'm like, all right, dude, you want to see how you handle people like this? Also, there's a group of people around us, and all of a sudden I'm like, bro, why would you say that? They're like, what'd he say? I was like, that's super racist, dude. Why would you do that? Like, that's messed up, man. And like, he just gets all, I didn't say anything. I didn't say, dude, what did I say? You want me to repeat it so I look like a racist? I'm not going to do that. What is wrong with you, dude? And eventually, all his friends are like, "Yeah, yeah, we're gonna go." Like, okay, he's like, "Okay, where are we going?" He's like, "No, yeah, we'll talk to you later." Well, are you serious, dude? The next day, I felt real bad. And but it was just like, quit fucking with us, dude. We told you to. And so then, another little bit goes by, and we get another dude trying to troll us again. And all of a sudden, we pull the same thing, but this dude did though. He took it too far. He leaned into it and started saying some real messed up stuff. And I was like, man, I'm glad we exposed one, but this is not the way I expected it to go. Like,
You
come
got
on, man.
a lot of entertainment value to it, man. You
Dude,
can't say it like that. People
no.
are, dude.
he was a straight up racist, man, and not even just a racist, like a bigot and everything, dude. The stuff he was saying, and it was before like even anything that happened October 7th, but he was making some references to that too, and like I was like, whoa, bro, like okay,
You fucked up people like that. You know, you gotta laugh at stupid shit, man.
dude.
You just have to, because just like anything else that is stupid or it's not true, you laugh at the shit.
Yeah.
You know, that's just how it is.
See, people like that though, man, I think it really comes from a lack of education. I really do, because you know what I mean? Like in all, I really do think when you see those little differences, it has to do with that you just don't understand any better or you didn't learn any better. Unfortunately, with the older generations, why it was so prevalent was because you learned from your parents. You know what I mean? Your parents were your total source of information for a long time until you grew up and then went out to the world and maybe read the newspaper, watched the news with them. But they were getting all their stuff from the same sources too. And so it's like
better hard life lessons about shit.
Yeah. And so like, for the newer generations, it's a lot nicer, I should say, because they have other sources of information to show them that, hey, this stuff's wrong and stuff like that. But before, I always just looked at it as a lack of education, especially like, being Mexican. I don't look Mexican, so I definitely have seen the two sides of it, like seeing how someone treats me until they realize my last name is Hispanic, like when I was younger. And, say it again.
So I've been through that same shit growing up too. So yeah, I
yeah.
know exactly.
You look white, and then all of a sudden they figure out you're Hispanic. It's like the whole tone changes. It's like, whoa, okay. Obviously I haven't had it as bad as anyone else. I'm not trying to minimize that at all. But then just I don't know. You would hear people call it like they would call me a spick, and I was like, dude, that's a slang term for that's a derogatory term for a Puerto Rican. So it's like
you learned something new. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean that's the way I was. That's at least the way I was taught it, and so like I always use that back. I'm like, you can go and call me that all you want. It doesn't even offend me. First, it wouldn't even offend me even if you called me something that was related to it, because it just doesn't. I don't care. It's a word, but yeah, no, so I always laughed at that part of it, and then I don't know. You just get some people that say some really stupid stuff, and it's just like, man, you're just mad because you just can't be as good as me, And that's the way I always played it. But no, yeah. I don't even know why we got that subject, but whatever.
It's like, I don't know. Over the years, I've grown a thick skin about a lot of stupid shit, and I got a dark sense of humor. I got a dark personality. I laugh at the most morbid shit there is. I think that came out even more when I joined the Army and shit. And you got you got every walk of life and every stooge there is in the world in the Army. So, and everybody, messes around with each other, talk about stupid shit, always tell jokes to each other. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to, things of that nature, it's like, you just laugh at the stupid shit, man. You just do.
Yeah.
And that's what pisses people off. Even when they're trying to insult you, you sit there and laugh at them. That's one of the easiest ways to get back at them is to fucking laugh at them.
Oh, when you show them what doesn't get to you?
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
People hate that.
Oh, that messes with them even more. So when you're able to laugh at shit like that and shrug it off, you're much more better off.
Oh, 100%, dude. And killing people with kindness is something that, because bartending at Midway, I had to learn how to do. And like, you'll get people who literally will go out of the way to be like, oh, I'm not going to tip you. It's like, I wouldn't even care if you didn't. I'm a very big believer in God will provide. So joke's on you. Like, yeah. And dude, and usually the whole bar just completely like ostracizes the person too when they do that to like any of the bartenders. Like, unless the bartender's a dick. I mean, I'm not really a dick, so I don't really get to see that side of it, but everyone's usually like, yo, what's your problem, dude? Calm down. Or like, I've had numerous people just like, there was a guy that didn't want to move his bag one day, and I was like, hey man, you got to move your bag. And he started getting all loud with me, and this other dude stands up like, I'm a U.S. Marshal. Well, I would sit down if I was you. I was like, oh shit. Like, and then the dude ended up coming through a year later, and he's like, you remember me? I was like, wait, you were there with the guy that freaked out about the bag, right? He's like, yeah. I was like, oh, dude, what's up, man? It's pretty cool. So, but yeah, you
A better
have
mood.
to say it again.
At least he came in a better mood the second time around, huh?
Well, no, he was the one that made him move the bag. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah, no, no,
okay.
no. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'll ever see that guy again. He's probably like, I'm avoiding midway.
Marshall.
What's up?
Till it was the marshal that showed back up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it was pretty nice to see him again too. And you meet a lot, dude. The airport's actually a pretty cool place to work. For some people, it's pretty stressful, but honestly, the amount of people you meet and the conversations you get to have, it's really interesting. And just the walks of life you meet is so interesting because that's what really made me want to do this is because I was talking to so many people and I was like, man, these conversations would be very interesting to
Oh,
get on here, and it's like I'm in a unique position to where I do get to see people from all over the country. So it's like it has its advantages when it comes down to doing this, that's for sure.
yeah, yeah. I could definitely see that. And you kind of look at it too with some people. You know how there's that kind of mindset where people they talk to bartenders about their problems and all that crazy shit. You're
Yeah.
almost like a therapist in a way. You're just hearing what these motherfuckers talk about. I know you probably heard some crazy ass shit too, man.
It's always some funny stuff, dude, because you'll pick up on little conversations with people or just little stupid things. And like some people, they're like, oh man, I've been up all, I haven't went to bed yet. I'm like, yeah, cocaine's a hell of a drug. And they're like, you're like, how'd you know? It's like, well, bro, you just told me you've been up all night. Like, come on. You look strung out. Like, oh, but no, yeah, you do hear a lot of funny stories, man. And most of the time people are in a pretty good mood. You're gonna get, I'd say maybe once a day, if that, maybe once every other day, twice a week, something like that. You're gonna get some disgruntled person, but for the most part, you get pretty decent people. At least in the morning. I don't know about the nights too much because I don't work too many nights. I'll work doubles every now and again, but outside of that,
No,
I
you
try not to.
walking in there at some point. It's just a matter of time. You're gonna get them now and again.
Yeah.
It's gonna
So
happen.
where's my phone at? Oh, I know you had mentioned a couple things you wanted to talk. We could go over and start talking about.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah. I'm
see
open for
here.
whatever.
Oh, you sent it in Messenger. That's what it was. Let's see. Oh, it logged me out. Oh yeah, with you being in the military, what are your whole thoughts on the whole Ukraine and Israel thing? The Israel one's a little bit different, but what are your
Oh
thoughts?
yeah, there's dynamics. I mean, obviously two different wars. So,
Yeah,
I guess with Ukraine and Russia, I remember a few years ago when all that shit was leading up to and everything, and I even watched some of the footage on YouTube, the Ukrainian Civil War. For the few, the number of years watching that,
yeah,
and so that kind of popped off. I actually didn't think the Russians were actually going to invade. Honestly, I thought Putin was maybe a little bit smarter than that, but uh, when you look back at it, he kept saying for a number of years he was going to do it. He was going to do it, and I guess people pushed him too far, and he's
yeah,
like this, and he went across the border. You know what I mean? So you know, he definitely showed he wasn't play pimping about that shit.
yeah. No. So
He did it.
when you talk about the Civil War, we talk about the coup in '08. That's what it was, right? Or was it the 2014 one?
Well, no, I was talking about the Syrian Civil War because you start seeing stuff on
Oh, oh, yeah.
the combat footage and all that stuff. And so, yeah, actually, that started when, yeah, because that was like the Arab Spring. That started even when I was overseas in Iraq. So that's when all that shit just started popping off.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, when I was in Iraq, they had us um, do kind of like a drill to where we had to pack up all of our shit and get it ready to move out to go to Baghdad because they were having protests in Baghdad. And if shit would have gone sideways in Baghdad, they were talking about sending us up there with the tanks and everything else.
Oh, really?
And yeah, so we're like, shit, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
but luckily it didn't get out of hand at that point. And so we never had to go up there for that kind of shit. So
Yeah. No, yeah.
yeah.
So like I'm no expert on war, but I do know a little bit about some some of the stuff going on over there, and it's like you said, it seems like he got pushed to a point, and I think war is a failure of humanity just in general.
Well, yeah, because
Obviously,
break down and shit, and yeah,
yeah, and both sides take losses. There's no war that does not have loss in it. You know what I mean? And
right.
it's in the end, we're all humans. It's like we're all part of this planet, and it's like I hate to see wars that are fought over illegitimate things, definitely, but I mean, it's in if you look at to take it from the perspective of Russia, I mean, it's like, dude, he kept saying, stop putting nukes on my borders, stop putting nukes on my borders, stop doing chemical testing in Ukraine, stop doing this, stop. We all know he needs the port in what is it, Crimea, right? That there's the port in
Yeah,
Crimea.
Russia was the totally power. That was the like the only warm water port they had, other than that base they have in Syria.
Yeah, and so they need that for their economy. And so it's like, you really think they're going to let their economy be that disrupted or that at the will of another sovereign nation? It's like, come on, that's kind of like a no-brainer. To come from the part of Ukraine, though, I understand it from their perspective too, that they want their independence. They want to be a nation away from Russia, but then they also have a good population who has seceded to Russia even too. So it's a tricky situation. But in the end, I don't think we should be bankrolling it. That's for damn sure.
No, I mean, when you kind of look at it too, I mean, we supposedly said that we weren't going to expand NATO eastward into Eastern Europe, and then we started adding Poland to NATO. Romania joined up. You got the Baltic
The
states and
Baltic
stuff like
states, yeah, yeah,
that. Ultimately, you had Finland and Sweden join too.
yeah,
So I mean, there's a lot of shit that when you look at foreign policy, I mean, uh, we didn't make entirely the best decisions, and hell, that goes back not too long after World War II. I
yeah.
mean, you look at Vietnam, that was a whole shit show in the end when you look at that, and then you look at even examples like Afghanistan and Iraq. Those ended up being failures because what did we get out of that long term when you really think about it?
Yeah.
Not a damn thing. And so when you look at Ukraine, I mean, you hear about that country being one of the most corrupted countries in Europe, supposedly.
That's where you get your money washed.
Yeah, we're giving all this money and shit. You look at Hunter Biden; he started that shit with Burisma. So
Yeah.
I mean that's not even scratching the surface of shit. So I mean, then we turn around, we're giving the guys all this money.
Yeah.
How do we know that money we're giving them is going to funnel back to some of the politicians here?
It is. That's the crazy part. There's been some of it that's been found to have made its way. Well, not I can't say we've traced once to the politicians back here, but like they caught that one dude and they just fired him. Like he was some type of higher up in Ukraine, and he bought like a $200,000 car, and it's like, wait, your country's at war and you guys need rations and shit, but you just bought a balling ass.
There's one in Ukraine. I forgot. I don't remember the guy's name, but he was taking money when they were supposed to be getting winter gear and equipment for their troops. The front, and the guy was, funneling money to himself. I can't remember the name. I mean, I've seen pictures of him and I've seen him on TV when you watch news clips of it and shit. But I know there was something like that going on as well. And there's no telling with Lazinski about some of the shit he might be doing that we don't know about either.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, I always find it kind of funny watching some of the clips of him as a comedian. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, whoa. And I believe he's predominantly Russian speaking, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, half the country is, Russian. I mean, shit, they were part of the Soviet Union for the longest time too. So you do have people that are ethnic Russian and speak the language,
yeah,
and stuff like that there. So I mean, I hate to tell them, and some people might get pissed off with me, but you look at the language itself and some of the culture, they're a lot of similarities with the Ukrainians and Russians.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, dude, they could literally, I mean, they were part of the same nation for a long time with the Soviet Union, and even outside of that, like you said, all with Crimea being right there, there was so much influence in that area. It's almost it's pretty hard to separate them, but that's why you have what are they calling the Russian separatists or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it's like I don't know which way it's going to go anymore, because I thought Russia was going to fizzle out of it. But then again, if you look at Russia's history of war, they do not give up. They do not give up at anything. And so it's like,
it started out slow, but then, over about a year or two, I guess you start learning from your mistakes and figure out what tactics work. And plus, they got a larger manpower, and probably obviously they can support themselves, unlike the Ukrainians.
Yeah, no.
So, after time, I think what's going to end up happening. I think if Trump gets into office, I think what's going to end up happening, the Ukrainians, in my opinion, are going to have to negotiate a deal of some sort to where whatever the Russians got, they might have to concede to that part and keep whatever they got left. But even with that being said, I think what's going to ultimately end up happening is that you're going to have a part two of that. Eventually, over the years, not long after that, it's probably going to bubble over at some point. You look at World War One, when you look how that ended, they blamed the Germans for the start of the whole war and everything else, and it wasn't the Germans who started it. And then you look at 20, 30 years later, you had World War II.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, just, either way, whether it continues from this point on or stops for a little bit, long term, it's not going to be the end of it.
Yeah, it'll reignite. And
yeah, happen.
I could 100% see that, just because, I mean, we're almost seeing kind of something like that play out with the whole Israel and Palestine, Palestine thing, which that thing is just a bucket fire, dude, of controversy, because it's just, I mean, it's from both sides. It's just atrocities, and it's like, hey, you can't really judge atrocities with atrocities, because they're both, I mean, they're unjudgeable things, because it's like
a tip that kind of deal over the years.
Yeah, and it's like, I do think that there's been, a little bit too much civilian death. I'm saying that in an odd way, just because it came from both sides. Yes, they both were atrocities, but I do think that, it needs to stop. I don't know the solution. I really don't know what to do in that solution, but I don't think we should be funding it. The money we sent over there, we have problems here. Like, look, we have a bridge to rebuild now, and then on top of it, like, yeah, they're getting water on the West Coast now, but there was a guy who mentioned, hey, we could build a pipeline from Alaska and pipe all the water we need down there, and that would actually boost our economy. Like, we could be investing this money to pull our economy up, instead of keeping it propped up on this wartime economy that we've literally built ourselves around. If we're not at war, our economy is doing shittily, and that's not a good place to be as a superpower, because that turns us into exactly what people hate about us, about that we're just warmongers. And it's kind of what we've turned into, unfortunately. And like, I'm not dissing on America or anything. I love America. I am a patriot to the bone, but it's just like, it's hard to justify everything we're doing and the money that we're spending here on things that aren't conducive to our population. Like right now, like everyone's like, why are we giving all the immigrants all these cards? Why are we carting them to these cities and everything? And I truly believe that these cities wanted this and needed it to survive, because like New York and Chicago, they last year in March, they were at like a 25% vacancy rate for businesses. And so that was just accelerating too. And so right now, I don't want to know what the vacancy rate's at, but what better way to stimulate the economy than have a bunch of people who didn't have money, give them pretty much a stimulus check. And what are they going to do with it? What did everyone else do with it? Their stimulus check during COVID. They're going to go blow it. So they're pretty much giving these cities a money injection through the federal government in the guise of wanting to help people, when it's like you have your own people fucked over here too on top of that.
Money got to come from somewhere. It comes from us paying taxes.
Yeah.
And instead of helping actual Americans who probably been born and raised here, or people have earned their citizenship by standing in line and getting in, you're giving it to a bunch of newcomer motherfuckers who nobody knows nothing about. You basically give them a walk-in. You think these guys are actually going to go to court when you tell them, oh, yeah, come to court next month? You think they're going to show up? Fuck no, they're not going to show up.
Well, they're giving them...
They're going. And these guys, they're not giving them no kind of disease checks or anything like that. And then they wonder why that some shit is spreading over in those holding areas they got them in. I mean, yeah, I get it. This country was founded on immigrants. Obviously, everybody came from somewhere else.
Yeah.
You got to stand in line just like anybody else. Mm-hmm. You join something, there's a process.
Yeah.
You got to wait in line to get in. If you're waiting in line and doing the process and you got a bunch of assholes coming in off from the back door on in there, you're going to be like, what the fuck?
And then you have people already scamming the system, cycling through every month, grabbing a check. It's like, that's fucking crazy that they can't even track it, that they're letting people do that. Yeah.
No one actually needs it. Then the government will turn them down for various reasons. They can't get it. But you let someone else walk in here. Oh, yeah, go right on ahead. Take what you need.
Oh, yeah, we got you. Hold on. You guys are hurting? No, it's okay. And like down in Texas, one thing that I heard is they run away from the federal agents, like the federal, they run towards the federal border crossing patrol or the border patrol, and they run away from the Texas ones because the Texas ones will grab them and send them back over. The federal ones take them and give them the money and
where the fuck they want to go and shit.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years back when a lot of this shit started up, I've had some people say shit to me like, "Oh, well, you're Hispanic too, there are people and this and that." I'm like, look, I never been to Mexico. My dad never taught me any Spanish. So, and I joined this country's army. I got no links. I know I have obviously roots to Mexico through, your family tree and everything.
Yeah.
But I was born here. I'm as American as anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And you got these people, people coming in for wherever. I don't know who these motherfuckers are.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? Like, I can care less what you are. If you're not from here and you're sneaking in, you're not going through the process, then you ain't got no fucking rights. You don't deserve no health care or any of that shit.
No, yeah, there's definitely, it's an issue too, because people don't realize how much influence from other parts of the world South America has in it. I mean, there is literally from World War II times, there's still German-speaking communities in Argentina. Like, and I'm not saying we need to be worried about the Germans. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is the influence from that side of the world is really, really prevalent. And so, you have, I'm sure, small pockets of communists down there still. I'm sure you still have Russian, people who align more with Russia. I know you have fucking Chinese aligning populations down there because they're creating little like stop points for large groups of Chinese individuals who look to be of military age, fit military, in military boots and military haircuts. And they don't speak to anybody but the people who they stop at. Those stations will not allow anyone to stop at them besides for Chinese individuals. And it's like, they're coming right across the border too. And it's like, wait, what the fuck are they doing? No one's paying attention to them, but we're having these people who look like they could straight up be fucking sleeper cells in our country. And it's like,
long ago, they stopped one Chinese national. I don't remember what U.S. base it was, but they caught someone trying to sneak in there too.
Yeah. Oh, dude. I think I remember seeing a headline about that. I don't think I read it, but and then what? Also, too, how many national China that owns the most land out of any country here? I would like to see the embassies eliminated from that statistic because I think it might skew it a little bit differently. But or at least it didn't state if it included the embassies or not. But embassies, I mean, they're really prevalent, so I could see
find a lot of farmland.
Yeah, and they're around military bases, and so it's like, wait, what the fuck? Like, you shouldn't be allowed to do this here. Like, I understand, there's freedoms, but no.
Yeah,
You know.
for a while. They don't care. People are getting paid off for it. I mean, you look at the Biden administration. They're letting. Remember the balloons that flew over? They knew about that shit before it even hit the fucking news, and they didn't do shit.
There was
And
just another one.
then they're talking about, oh, we'll shoot it down once it's away from populated areas. Why didn't the fuck you shoot that shit down right away the minute you seen it?
There was just another one, like not even. It was like a month or two ago that just they saw it flying over, and I didn't hear anything else about it. And so, no, yeah, because fuck it, dude, it's honestly, it's. I've always believed in like the puppet game in the United States, like you have Democrat, Republican. I've always believed it was the same puppet master pulling the strings on both sides. It's always the way I explained it. I never thought it was 100% true until I watched. Do you ever watch Glenn Greenwald?
No.
He's on Rumble. He's a pretty good. He's an independent journalist. He's honestly he gives some pretty good fair points. Obviously, like anybody, he's gonna have points you disagree with. But when it comes down to being unbiased, and giving his true thoughts, he's really good at it. And there was something he went over that like the last 4 administrations have assigned the same people into the positions, no matter whether they were Democrat or Republican, which tells me that this puppet show that I've been thinking of this whole time is actually reality. And I'm almost wondering on a large scale how much of it's a puppet show, because like, you have all these nations that supposedly hate each other, but we all couldn't survive without each other. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like China, we're so worried about a war with China. I'm sorry. In all reality, if China releases our debt, we're fucked. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know what I mean? Like they own so much of our debt. If we go to war with them, they could fucking drop our economy in a second. But on the other hand, they drop our economy, they lose a shitload of money.
Right,
so it's like,
so you kind of screw yourself in the problem. We put ourselves
in this position.
Yeah.
By outsourcing manufacturing. And then it's like, and then we had. I didn't hear that last part.
So we don't make shit in America anymore.
No. And then you have to worry about BRICS. It's like BRICS, if that truly becomes a power where their currency is stepped outside of ours, which it is, the petrodollar is no more. You know what I mean? That's a fucking scary thing right there. The petrodollar was a huge driver to our economy, and we're losing that. And then you have
by the balls because everybody had to trade with dollars.
Yeah. And so it's with BRICS, that could be the one thing that would fuck us, because if they move away from our dollar and they could say, hey, we could release our debt and we'll still be good. That would literally, America will be donezo. And kind of the way I see it with America, and I don't want this to happen because like I said, I do love America. And I have no other loyalties to any other nation, no matter where my heritage is from. This is my country. And I think that they're trying to crash our economy to restart it. I think with how much debt we're in, I think they don't see a way out. I mean, I don't see a plausible way out. If anyone knows of a accountant that can show me a way out of this type of debt, when you have $1 trillion in, $1 trillion freaking interest rate, it's like, dude, how the fuck do you expect to pay that off when we were at what, 4 trillion or something? Like, I think with Obama, what was it, 4 trillion or something like that? I don't remember.
I know we've been in debt for a very, very long time, and it's not getting any better because you're sending billions of dollars to Ukraine. You're giving Israel a shit ton of money on top of that as well. Not to mention, I think we're sending some kind of funding to Taiwan as well. And then going back to the manufacturing thing, trying to think what the hell were those chips they make in Taiwan.
Oh, are you talking about the
superconductors or something?
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
All those are basically made in fucking Taiwan. So you're telling me that everybody needs them for weapons and other modern shit. Everybody needs it. So you let that one island make a majority of them. I don't think they make any of them here in the U.S. that I'm aware of. And
No.
so we set ourselves up for that kind of shit too. And I mean, when you look at U.S. foreign policy as a whole, and some of the shit show decisions we've been making in the last, I would say probably about the good 40, 50 years. Yeah, we put ourselves in this spot. We
Yeah,
put ourselves
we need to do something to definitely
right.
diversify our economy again because every other country has done it. That is, besides, I don't know what Russia has done to do it, but like China, everyone thought they were so stupid when they killed their software market. So that they decided, hey, if you're going to continue to make software in this country, you will have an extra tax put on your company to discourage companies from doing it. They moved all towards hardware producing. And they did that because they knew what was happening over in Afghanistan and Iraq. And they came behind us and said, hey, we'll be your friends. Let us buy these mines off you. They bought the fucking cobalt mines. They bought all the rare earth mineral mines from them. And they started producing hardware. Say it again.
The Taliban needed money, man.
Yeah, well, and they made friends with them. You know what I mean? Who the fuck wants someone to come in the country and say, "Hey, we're gonna do whatever the fuck we want, get out the way"? No, no one wants that. You go in there and you try to make a little peace with them. Everyone's gonna get a piece of the pie, then and it's like that's what they wanted, and they got it from China, and now China is producing all the hardware. They're producing it cheaper. Everyone wants to buy it, and then they're turning around and putting third-party monitoring software in it. And it's like, so now, it's like they're setting themselves up to almost dominate a complete industry. Then you have Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia started something called Diversify by 2030, and that's when they started investing heavily in the fuck's it called? It's over in California. It's like the tech industry.
Talking about a company or a certain kind of.
No, it's just the area they're in. Silicon Valley. There you go. They started investing heavily in Silicon Valley, and everyone got really the thing Live, from that one dude. He produces clothes. Has a little fish on it. It's the golf thing. Never heard of it?
I don't think so. I mean, if I seen a picture or something, I probably.
So it's like Norman something or something like that, or something Gordon, or I don't know.
Oh, you're talking about
It's like a golf league that they created. It's called Live, and they're actually merging with the PGA. They're in like talks of it. There's some discrepancy issues because the PGA has always been really top heavy. The executives always got paid extreme amounts of money, and obviously they have some dumbass rules. Can't wear fucking shorts. Like what the fuck? And so Live came in and said, hey, you play, you get paid pretty much and Live. Like everyone gets paid out, and people were throwing an uproar about it. Like, oh, it's Saudi Arabian money. This isn't right. We shouldn't be letting these foreign countries invest and stuff like that. Greg Norman, I think his name is maybe.
Okay.
But anyways, they got all pissed off about it. It's like, dude, do you guys know what you're talking about? China has so much money in the NBA, first off. And then as well, you use that dog walking app, WAG. Saudi Arabia has money in it. Like Saudi Arabia did really well at diversifying their economy away from oil to where they have a shitload of money in tech now. And they did exactly what they're supposed to be doing. And so you're seeing all these countries diversifying into different lines from their original revenue. And then you have America over here diversifying into fucking consumery and war. It's like, what the fuck?
Buddy was telling me that, I don't know if you ever heard of a company called Lucid.
It sounds
Lucid or whatever. I guess they're a company that does electric cars too and stuff like that. They're considered like a rival of
Tesla.
Tesla, yeah. And from what a buddy of mine told me, he told me to look into getting some stock in it. It's fairly cheap, but I guess the Saudi banks are backing it up.
Yeah, I mean that's
looking too, because
that's good money, man.
No matter what country you are, you're going to need some kind of investors, whether it's foreign or domestic. Now, obviously, you want to regulate, who the fuck you're dealing with as far as foreign investors. I mean, that's a given. But I mean, things have just gotten out of hand to the point where it's all fucked up. And you kind of look at after the whole COVID thing, a lot of shit has changed. And then going back even further than that, you remember a thing called the Patriot Act? Remember,
yeah.
Okay, I remember when all that happened. it was like right when that's when the whole war on terror started and all that kind of shit. They basically gave the government the blank check to do whatever the hell you want or whatever you got to do. And I just think people were crazy. They were bitching and freaking out about it. Now I understand why.
Why
And
exactly?
look at it, have been going, especially in the last 10 years, and recently the last 5 years. Yeah, yeah, they're getting ready to, like you said, they want to crash everything, start it all over, so that way they got the total authority to do whatever the fuck they want, and then you're asked the fuck out.
Yeah, and the we're still seeing the treachery of the Patriot Act to this day. I mean, the monitoring of individuals. I mean, look at what just happened to Tucker Carlson. They fucking hacked his email and then leaked it to the fucking New York Post. It's like, dude, fuck you, or the Times, or one of those fake fucking news industries. Like, and like, I don't even say that too sarcastically. When I say fake news industries, I mean that they're just fucking they're corporate propaganda machines now. You know what I mean? Like, that's all they are. It's like I when I first started doing this, I started searching like a lot of trends in America, and like I would try to try to find topics I liked and post on them. And then I started coming up to things. I was like, dude, all I see on here is like sports and all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, let me go look at like India and some other countries. India, all you see is space this, space that, astrophysicist, the physicist, this new study. It's like, that's the problem right here. Like, you see what's popular there to over here. It's like, that's why our country's failing.
Yeah, and then you look at a lot of the other stupid shit too. I mean, like, I give you another prime example. Like, when it comes to Trump, okay, yeah, you don't have to like the guy or whatever. Before he got elected president, yeah, he had a TV show, and he's a rich guy, real estate. He used to have a casino. People used to ask for money all the time. You have pictures of him with Jesse Jackson and all kinds of motherfuckers, okay? Trump was a rich guy. Okay, so what? Big fucking deal, right? But the minute this guy runs for office, all of a sudden, oh, he's a big racist. He invented racism. It's like, there were fucked up people before that, way more fucked up than people than he is, and you guys are acting like he's the fucking devil or some shit. But yet, years before that, you were taking money from him. Now all of a sudden, you're freaking the fuck out. I mean, it absolutely doesn't make any sense at all.
No,
at all. Makes no sense.
There's a connection between Trump's family and Nikola Tesla too, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
I think Trump's uncle was the one responsible for confiscating the chest from Nikola Tesla, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, it's pretty interesting. His family's been plugged for years, dude. Uncle.
You talk about Tesla, the stuff.
Nikola.
Those are the shit he had.
Yeah, his patents and like all his research. Involved with Nikola Tesla. Yeah, I believe his uncle was the one. Let's see.
Yeah, man, he got a whole studio set up there, computer screen and everything.
Oh, yeah.
If you've been in a car accident,
oh, that's loud.
Don't call an attorney. Use this AI app instead.
Hold on, here it is. Yeah. Trump connected to Nikola.
With the first presidential debate just a day away, we thought it was time to play a little political trivia. So, how is President Trump connected to electric car makers Tesla and Nikola? Let's bring in Yahoo Finance's editor-in-chief, Andy Serwer, who has the answer to that.
Seconds,
hey, Andy, good morning. I saw your story on our website about this over the weekend. So connect the dots for our audience. What do all three have in common?
Well, first of all, let's start off, Alexis, specifically with Tesla and Donald Trump. And go back to the 1940s. The inventor Nikola Tesla died in 1943. The FBI was called in to vet his inventions to make sure there was nothing dangerous there that could fall into enemy hands. And they called an MIT electrical engineering professor, a very esteemed one, named John Trump. Now, it turns out that John Trump is, in fact,
even when that election, 2016 election, I mean, when you had him and Hillary, going for it, I didn't even vote in that one because at the time, I'm sitting there thinking of all the millions of people you got in this country, and you tell me that's the cream of the crop, that's the best you got. You got a game show host and this crazy bitch that's connected to all kinds of other shit. It's like, I mean, come on, but I mean, looking at the during the 4 years he had it, he did a lot better than what I thought he would. So I'm like, I got to give him credit for that. And then he probably could have got more shit done. But when you got everybody sabotaging everything else he's doing, and all of a sudden, he's the guy who invented racism and all kinds of crazy shit. It's fucking mind boggling. And yeah, I do believe the last election definitely was stolen. In my opinion,
You really think so? Say it again.
The writing's on the wall. The last election was stolen, man. I mean, you're telling me that this guy, Biden, with fucking got dementia, got more votes than fucking Obama did? Come on now,
dude. So if he wins this next one, it's 100% that shit is fucked. Like,
it's fucked since the last one. This is gonna be a repeat.
Yeah,
because they're already trying to get held up on some dumbass charges and shit and everything else.
No pun. Some trumped up charges. No pun intended.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And then you look at it. Biden got dementia. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. And you're gonna guy with dementia run the country. He's not calling the shots. Somebody else is calling for him. Like you said about the puppet master.
He's the fucking patsy. He's the see-through patsy right now. And like every president, I truly do believe now, unfortunately, since the World War II, has been a patsy, an easy fall guy. And because I think they did that because they realized, okay, we don't need this seat to have the power. The true power is behind this seat, which is then the intelligence agencies. It's the shadow government that everyone's been fucking talking about for all these years that was looked at as such fake shit. But I mean, when you truly look at how this country changed after World War II, it's like, I think they realized how efficient gangsters were.
Yeah.
Or the gangsters grew themselves some politicians. And when I know that sounds funny when I say it, but it's like, it's almost, what's that movie with Matt Damon and the old gangster movie where they have the kid grow up to be a cop but he's really like, he's working with the mob.
And shit, that's with someone else is in there too. Not Jack Nicholson, but was it Jack Nicholson?
I can't remember, dude.
I think
ChatGPT might be good for it.
Or the different movie.
Let's see.
You said Matt Damon, right?
I believe it's Matt Damon. What is the movie where? Oh, come on, ChatGPT, don't do that to me. What is the movie where they raise a kid to become a cop to work with the mob?
Damn, I think I know what we were talking about, but I can't think of the name.
The Departed. Yep.
The Departed. What you're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, The Departed. So that's kind of what gave me that idea. Did the mob just breed themselves a politician? You know what I mean? And that's why the American government kind of went gangster with what they were doing, like going into countries, overthrowing other countries, and fucking installing dictators over democratically elected officials. Or
Central South America, we were doing that in there.
Dude, yeah.
1900s. I mean, you look at the Mexican Revolution, when you read about the years leading up to that shit, we had a lot of pull down there. And that was part of the reason why shit exploded the way it did down there, too.
Yeah, no. And so it's like, to me, it was either one of two things. Either we saw how efficiently the mob ran themselves and they copied it, or mobsters truly infiltrated the government and now it's just kind of playing out. Obviously, that people, they realize like, hey, the parts to be at are the CIA and everything. I mean, look how embedded J. Edgar Hoover was with the mob. And look at...
They all knew each other and shit. Like, I mean, you look at another example of that is Kennedy. His dad was a bootlegger, had ties with the mobs, and supposedly there's stories going back that Kennedy uses influence with his dad, used influence with the mob, and helped the mob, had the unions and other sources help drum up votes for Kennedy. That's how he got elected. And then from what I understand, since Kennedy wasn't playing ball completely, and his brother was going after the mob and the other union guy, Jimmy Hoffa. Yeah, obviously stepped on some toes, and so
did
I'm getting whacked for a number of issues.
RFK Jr. Disputes the whole bootlegging thing. He says that's a CIA conspiracy to help discredit his family. I believe the bootlegging story. I think it's real. Personally, I liked RFK a lot as a presidential candidate until I saw his interview with Andrew Schultz. Andrew Schultz is a comedian who does a podcast. I just felt like there were some things in there that he was lying about, and he became extremely dodgy. Like extremely just sketchy when he was answering the question. His knee started to jump up a lot. And it was just all telltale signs of someone that was lying. And granted, I could have been misreading it. It could have been like some ailment that I was seeing that I was misjudging or something like that. But I really do. I like the things he's done. He seems like a great upstanding guy. I just kind of feel like he might have been conscripted. He might have got himself caught up in some shit, and they might be kind of using him as a puppeteer now, and it scares me. And so I am not a Trump supporter when it comes down to everything like that, but I do believe he is the next best president and he is the best option. And I'm ashamed that I supported Biden, and I say that proudly, that I am ashamed that I supported him, and I did support him at first, but I am American enough to fucking admit when I'm wrong and say what, that. People need to realize that's American. When you're wrong, fucking admit it and course correct. That's what America's about, is course correcting what we see wrong. And people need to stop.
It ain't working and it's fucked up. You got to correct yourself. But
some people don't.
But after my opinion, after seeing Trump doing some of the stuff he tried to do during the 4 years, I honestly thought he was actually doing the best with what he could during that whole situation. Like you said, you got to re-sabotage your ass. So it's kind of hard doing that and other things at the same time. And then when the whole election happened with Biden, I've never been a Biden supporter from day one. I honestly believe that the election was bluntly rigged. I mean, like I said, to have Biden have more votes than Obama, no fucking way, man. And then right from get-go, you knew he was off from his past years because he just seemed a lot slower. And then all of a sudden you see that dementia just fucking oozing out everywhere.
Dude.
And it's like, and with that being said, he's not calling the shots. In my honest opinion, I think it's Obama who's the one really calling the shots for him. Yeah, they wanted him for a third term, or Hillary. Hillary didn't get in. She didn't get her turn, so she's all butthurt about that. So they wanted to bring him back in there, but law says you can't get a third term, so you just have his old VP get up in there. You just pull the strings behind him, because I guarantee Biden ain't the one making the decisions. When you got dementia like that, no.
Bro, they're hopping him up on Adderall and putting him on stage and then fucking hoping for the best, man.
It's fucked up when you got someone with dementia up there. You're forcing them to get up there. And then not only that, you look at it even in the past with Biden. The guy has committed was it plagiarism, where you take someone's speech or some bullshit like
someone's
that.
Someone's work and claim it as your own. Yeah.
Yeah. There's evidence of him doing that. He had to bow out, I think, maybe a couple presidential races because of shit like that.
I didn't know that.
And you're gonna bring a guy up there to fucking run for president? It's the system is totally fucked. And unfortunately, one way or another, this is going to get sorted out. I don't think it's going to be by the vote. I think at some point or another, you're going to have a violent collapse of the country. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. Yeah. Whether it's not later, it's going to happen.
I hope it's not a violent one, man. I don't want my kids to be a part of that shit.
Well, fucked up. When the right mind wants to go through that shit. People like their trash taken out. You want to watch your football on Sundays.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, given the reality of it, you look at history, when you have shit like this going on and the country's not doing well, and it's getting rotted and corrupted from within, it's only going to be a matter of time for the house to collapse.